All right, so thanks for jumping on, everyone. My name is Aaron Fragnito. I'm co-founder and co-owner of People's Capital Group. My business partner, Seth Martinez, and I own and operate People's Capital Group. Seth is primarily responsible for operations. I focus on marketing, branding, and investor relations. So tonight, we're going to talk about where to find the most profitable real estate investments. This is a live webinar here. So if you have questions as we go along, please put them in the chat or the Q&A, and I'll be able to answer those questions at the very end. We do new webinars every single week. Normally, I'm going live generally Thursday at 11 a.m. on LinkedIn with other professionals in and out of the real estate industry. I also do webinars here privately or publicly on a monthly basis as well. I do how to self-direct your IRA into real estate every single month on the fourth Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. I do this presentation, where to find the most profitable real estate investments, on a quarterly basis, generally the second month of the quarter here. And then, of course, I have my Thursday at 11 a.m. webinars as well. Generally on a weekly basis, if we don't have one of these webinars that week. So a little complicated, but overall, we put out a new webinar every single week here at People's Capital Group. We also have a podcast called the PassiveCashFlow podcast, and we've been doing this over 10 years. So we have a number of investors, almost 100 investors that invest with us, and over 120 podcast episodes as well. We don't sell books or CDs or boot camp classes. We focus on helping people invest in New Jersey apartment buildings. And we're going to break into tonight how we find those buildings, how we structure these acquisitions, how we negotiate with landlords and brokers and wholesalers to find these good opportunities, and how a deal is created, not just found, right? Deals aren't just really sitting on the internet. Maybe they were in 2012, but right now they're definitely not. So how do you create a deal in a high demand market? And that's what we'll talk about tonight. Quick disclaimer, this is not a solicitation for funds, tax advice, or legal advice. I'll be breaking into, again, how we create a deal, how we work with people in the industry to find discounted properties for sale and buy them for discounted prices with value add, so that we can increase the rent roll over time as we improve the property and do a nice cash out refinance for our investors. So I'll break a little bit into that tonight, our model and how we do the cash out refinance for investors, how that works. We'll also talk about the local markets we like to invest in and how we structure deals in those markets. I'll break into the conversation I have with landlords and brokers and wholesalers in the industry, and how we create these deals, not just find them sitting out there, but create them. That's a big part of the presentation. And of course, we'll talk about value add, improving a property, increasing the rent roll, therefore increasing the value, and harvesting that equity growth through a cash out refinance, and why we like that model and what that means for our investors. We'll talk about a little historical performance here and kind of do a basic case study very briefly as well, so our investors really understand, or our viewers here really understand, how we help people invest in real estate and how we source and create these awesome opportunities. At People's Capital Group, we help you invest in real estate. Build your wealth by owning professionally managed apartment buildings in the northern New Jersey market. We want to show you how owning real estate is attainable, even for the busy professionals that don't have the time or experience investing in real estate. Now, we only work with select people who are serious about building wealth. So find out if you qualify at peoplescapitalgroup.com. Okay, so again, if you have any issues as we go, please put them in the chat or the Q&A. We are live on my Facebook as well here, and we have a lot of people jumping on. We actually had over 500 signups for this webinar here. So I think people are looking for how to find great deals. So I'll do my best explaining exactly how we create these deals and how we find them. So let's go over our PCG strategy here, how we invest in real estate and why we use this strategy. So that'll help explain how we source good deals too. That's all kind of part of the process of, creating a good deal, right? Because a good deal to me might not be a good deal to someone else, and a good deal to another type of investor might not be a good deal to us, right? So I'll explain the types of deals we look for and why we buy those deals and how we find them and create them. So one of the things we realized about real estate very early on is it's an excellent hedge for bull and bear markets. Whether the stock market's going up or down, our commercial assets, our apartment buildings still tend to hold their value decently through recession, are a bit recession resilient. and also produce cash flow and other tax benefits through recession as well. So we see that real estate has generated more financial value for more people than any other investment class in history. In fact, 60% of billionaires' wealth, billionaires' wealth, is held in real estate, primarily because you can own real estate, create cash flow, create wealth from it, and not pay taxes on those gains in a lot of different ways, and shelter those earnings through tax write-offs and harvest equity growth and put cash in your pocket tax-free through a cash out refinance. And I'll explain why that's tax-free later in the presentation. So the benefits, of course, of owning real estate, you get, quarterly cash flow checks with our fund, equity appreciation as we buy properties for discounted prices, increase the rent roll on it, force the value up, and create equity. Okay? Equity is the value of your property minus your debt. Okay, it's what you would get if you sold the property, right? And tax advantages, of course, you get tax depreciation at the end of the year when you own real estate. Now, People's Capital Group, we founded our company in 2013 to help people invest in real estate, specifically New Jersey real estate, New Jersey apartment buildings. So we work with select clients. We can't work with everyone. We really don't have room for everyone. And you do have to qualify. There's a qualification process. But once you're qualified and we select you to invest with us, people can diversify their portfolio into real estate. I just was speaking with someone yesterday who is now exiting the stock market. I mean, I speak to people every day that are exiting the stock market and investing in real estate. And it's really an exciting time, for these individuals. They might be in the 40s, 50s, 60s, invested in the stock market their entire lives. And it's really all they know. And it's all they've been able to invest in and been confident enough to invest in. But now real estate syndications, which is what we are here at People's Capital Group, have become quite popular. And now consumers, investors, qualified investors have many options out there. And selecting the right operator is tough. But if you team up with the right operator, you could do very well investing in a real estate syndication where capital is pooled together. A larger property is purchased, bigger is better in real estate. And the investors get the benefits of owning real estate, the cash flow, the tax depreciation, the big lump sums upon the refinance, but they don't have to do all the heavy lifting behind the scenes, analyzing 400 bad deals to find one good one, managing the management company, getting the loan in place properly with the best terms, and of course, completing the project long-term to buy, renovate, and refinance the apartment building is really where the work starts. So we've structured a business here where people can partake in real estate and get started with as little as $30,000 into multi-million-dollar buildings, which of course would never be possible if there wasn't a team of people behind them to pool the rest of the capital together and find the opportunity. So combined, Seth and I have 25 years of real estate investing experience, and we offer passive investments to qualified real estate investors, sophisticated and accredited investors. We'll go over what those definitions mean in this presentation as well. And the acquisition and the management of the assets is our responsibility, and the investors get all the benefits of owning the real estate without doing the heavy lifting. So our mission is to make real estate more attainable for more people. And that's what we've done here at People's Capital Group, and really helped over 100 people invest in real estate over the last decade. Okay, let's break into the markets here. Let's talk about markets first, and then we're going to talk about creating deals in those markets. Okay, there's kind of two steps to finding a good deal or sourcing a good deal here. So some of the markets we like to invest in are inner city markets because you get more real estate for your dollar in inner city markets. They also tend to be near hubs of transportation, lots of job opportunities. And so, for example, Paterson, New Jersey, we've done very well in that city. For years, Paterson struggled. I think the last 3 mayors went to jail while in office, right? So Paterson has really struggled for good leadership for the last 20 years. And around 2016 or 2018, the new mayor was voted in, and he's actually been very bullish on development, okay? So the last 4 years or so in Paterson have been really good. The city's blossomed, values have grown there. We've acquired some really great properties, a nice 25 unit. We brought in about 20 investors on. That project's going great. We just refinanced out of an 11 unit that we had a handful of investors participating in. We paid them a 24% annualized cash on cash return. So they got back half of their investment after 2 years investing in that project. So really have a lot of success in Paterson. We've done very well there. We continue to see a lot of growth, a lot of new development areas because the local government is green lighting basically any reasonable development in that city. They're also creating the old, they're turning the old a racetrack there. We own a building a few blocks away from this. They're taking this old racetrack that's abandoned and dilapidated, and they're turning it into essentially, condos and storefronts and Starbucks and Whole Foods, right? And that's what we like to see. That means that our properties around that area, right? If Whole Foods comes in, you're looking good. That means we're going to really help our property values there. So we like what we see in Paterson, New Jersey, and want to continue to invest in certain parts of Paterson, New Jersey. It also allows you to commute into Manhattan in about 45 minutes. And quite frankly, it's one of the most affordable places to buy real estate where you can still commute to Manhattan in 45 minutes. Newark, New Jersey. We love Newark. We've been investing there for years. We made our investors' first million in Newark. So it's really been a great city for us and our investors. And we see Fortune 500 companies going into Newark, great public transportation options. Of course, you have Newark Penn there, universities, TCNJ, Rutgers University. Boy, some of the best investments I ever made was right around Rutgers University and the Newark campus. Just still the gift that keeps on giving for those investments there. And great proximity to New York City. So really a big fan of Newark. The prices there have gotten so crazy. It's almost really, it's hard to justify them at this point. So we're still waiting for some good deals in Newark. Nothing on the horizon just yet. Rahway, New Jersey. We love Rahway. We bought a 27 unit, 3 blocks of the train station. The project's way ahead of schedule. Heck, we'd be ready to refinance it this year. If rates weren't so high, we would be refinancing it, but that would be a little short-sighted. So we're going to wait for rates to come down. But it's got a great downtown art scene, lots of things to do, great proximity to New York City. We're continuing to boost value into the property by repositioning it, renovating units so they become vacant, leasing them up for top dollar, increasing our rent roll, therefore increasing the property value exponentially. So we love Rahway. Our project's going very well there. We've done a number of other flips and things like that in Rahway as well through the years. Bayonne, New Jersey. We're buying a $4 million asset right now in Bayonne, New Jersey. It's a super hot market, similar to Jersey City and Hoboken, right on the Gold Coast there. But it doesn't have the same rules, landlord-tenant laws, that Jersey City and Hoboken have. Those are very difficult laws to navigate through. For example, if a tenant moves out of your property in Jersey City, you need to go in front of the rent control board, show them all the repairs you've made, try to get them to approve a fraction of what you've invested in the property in the rental increase. And it's really not a fair trade-off. It's a very frustrating system as well. So Bayonne, New Jersey has 100% vacancy decontrol. That means when a tenant moves out of a rent-controlled unit, it immediately becomes a fair market unit, and you can lease it up for whatever the market's bearing. You don't have to go in front of the rent control board or anything. Secondly, the building we're buying is 75% free market, so that allows us to increase rent and have a lot more flexibility with those units and those tenants. So just a great market, great location. They're building a ferry to allow you to commute from Bayonne into Manhattan in less than 20 minutes. So that opportunity is fully funded, but if you want to learn more about it, sometimes we do have spots open up down the road on existing assets. So it's always good to get in touch with us and kind of connect with us internally and see what we have available. You might learn more that way. We often don't put all of our offerings out to all of our investor group. We often raise capital internally, just connecting with investors that are reaching out to us. So if you are curious about our current projects, just always reach out to us and we'll talk to you what we have going on. But Morristown, New Jersey, strong property values. Neighboring towns offer great value as well. Pretty easy commute into Manhattan. And just a lot of high property values there, a lot of jobs and good opportunity, a lot of momentum, good population density as well. Plainfield, New Jersey. Some of my best assets are in Plainfield, New Jersey. I was just talking to one of our investors that's invested in a building there since, I think, 2013 we bought the building. We're refinancing it again now. I'm about to pay him another $20,000. It's just at this point, it's icing on the cake. I think it's our third refinance. So just really nice property there, a good city there, direct train line to New York City, strong rental demand. Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. We have a nice 14-unit affordable housing investment there with a number of investors. We had our office there for 6 years, so really good city there, Berkeley Heights, small town really. And that whole corridor there along 78th, the New Jersey Transit, kind of Gladstone line, Summit, New Providence, Berkeley Heights. we love those markets, Long Hill. So not a whole lot of apartment buildings in those markets, but well, Summit's getting some, but very expensive markets to get into as well. But if you know what you're doing in those markets, you could do very well long-term. Somerville, New Jersey. We love Somerville. Our office has now moved to Somerville, New Jersey. We're at 92 East Main Street. So great location here, lots of places to eat, excellent downtown, really an attractive environment. Somerville kind of struggled for a few years, and now it's really come back over the last decade. They're developing a beautiful mixed-use building in downtown Somerville right now, condos, storefronts below it. So really a lot happening in Somerville. There's cranes in the air. That's always a good sign. Speaking of cranes in the air, New Brunswick, New Jersey has Rutgers University and just a ton of growth going on there. New Brunswick has areas as hit or miss, but then there's other areas that are really nice. So you want to, just like any city, pick and choose where you invest in, but New Brunswick, New Jersey has a lot of potential, especially with Rutgers being there. Its main campus is in New Brunswick. And just West Jersey in general, we see a lot of opportunity out here in kind of Somerset County, different parts of Hunterdon County as well. We're developing 4 single-family homes in Western Morris County, in a small suburban town in Western Morris County. So we like West Jersey. We see more people kind of moving out here after the pandemic. Now people are maybe commuting to the office 3 days a week or 2 days a week. So all of a sudden, living in Bridgewater or something can make sense, right? So we're looking at different areas in West Jersey as well. And then Trenton, right now we're not really eyeing anything in Trenton. We do think property values are going to come down pretty aggressively there in the next year or so, be kind of one of the first markets, I think, to take a hit. It's just a less desirable market, but you can get a lot of real estate for your dollar. It's an hour commute to Philadelphia. It's a 90-minute commute to Manhattan. It's the state capital, so they have a lot of infrastructure there. There's a train station as well. You could take trains to either Philly or New York from there. Lots of good transportation options. So not too bullish on Trenton right now, but we're going to keep an eye on that market over the coming years. Okay, let's break into creating a deal. All right. So first of all, deals are really created. They're not found, right? Now, there is an initial finding process of getting in touch with the owner or the broker or the wholesaler. But for the most part, a lot of our deals were created in the negotiations after we spoke with the landlord. And a lot of times, some of our best deals didn't look like a deal initially, and then we kind of worked it into a deal. So let's talk about how we do that. So step 1, find a landlord of a mismanaged building in your target market. So we want to focus on a market, right? I just talked about a dozen markets there in New Jersey. We really focus at any given time about maybe half a dozen of those markets, right? Half a dozen markets. So focus on specific markets, know your comps, know your market, get in touch with landlords. We do direct mail marketing. We do relationships with brokers. We are always taking them out to lunch, wholesalers, things like that. Keeping in touch with landlords to buy a building from them. If they have more buildings to sell, be good as well. So find that landlord, do some marketing, put the effort out there, build those relationships, and start to then build rapport with that individual, right? Even if they're not looking to sell at that point, it's good to, or the price is too high, build rapport. Whether you're selling a building or investing your IRA in the People's Capital Group, it's all about rapport. You want to know the people you're doing business with. You want to like them, and you want to understand their vision and their strategy and their overall mindset when operating, with your capital. So it's very, very important to build rapport with anyone you're doing business with, of course. And anytime you want to structure a closing or a sale or a transaction, the more rapport you have with someone, the better. You also want to display your value, right? We can close very quickly. We understand the inspection process. We're not going to nickel and dime you. We're not going to, not close on the day we agree to close, right? Or not be able to get the mortgage or things like that. We have lots of momentum behind us, lots of options. Seth and I have closed 300 plus real estate transactions together. So because of that, people have faith in us in closing, and that helps us get properties for discounted prices. Step 3, discuss the landlord's needs and make an offer answering those needs, right? It's not always exactly about, hey, this is the price I want, go hit the road, right? A lot of times, listen, price is extremely important. I'm not going to lie, but I've also found that there's lots of other things that are important to landlords, right? How fast are you going to close? Sometimes they want you to be flexible on the closing date. Sometimes they need you to close as quickly as possible. Usually it's the latter. Also, broker fees, things like that, right? If you can go direct to the landlord and save them the cost of a commission, that should be reflected in your purchase price. And other closing costs. I've talked to landlords and they said, I don't want to pay my attorney. I don't want to pay the transfer tax. I don't want to pay any closing costs. And I'll say, okay, well, I'll work the numbers. I'll say, okay, that's going to cost me 10 grand. And then okay, well, listen, if you can accept this price, then I will pay your closing costs, right? Now, in that scenario, sometimes I've seen people take a far less price than if they just paid their own closing costs, right? It doesn't really make sense to me. So sometimes we just don't want to pay closing. You can pay their closing costs, right? Other times it's furniture or a tenant they don't want to be removed from the property, or, the flexibility to access the property in the future, or let their brother stay on payroll for 2 years or something. So you want to understand, what's the ramifications of that. Maybe their mother lives in one of the units and she can't move out for 2 years, right? So you want to understand what are the specific things that are holding up the sale or caused problems in the past, or they worked with a realtor and they just can't stand realtors, okay. So, and understand what those needs are, and then make an offer answering those needs. And if you can't offer the needs, answer the needs, hey, you're asking too much. Here's why. Look at these comps. Look at your rent roll compared to your cap rate. This is what your property would appraise for. That's why I can't pay what you're asking, right? So explain where you're coming from. That doesn't always work, but it can help you get the right price on a building. Step 4, close with integrity and ask to buy more of their properties, right? Anytime we're doing business, whether we're working with a Section 8 tenant, a contractor fixing a $200 repair, or doing a $30,000 full gut of a unit, it doesn't matter. We work with integrity, whether we're talking to a multi-million-dollar investor or someone looking to self-direct $30,000 from their IRA. We always work with integrity. We talk with professionalism. We know our business. We know our numbers. We don't pressure sell people or overpromise or underdeliver. We really try to be honest, faithful businessmen, Seth and I, day in and day out in what we do. And that includes in closing on our properties and as quickly as we possibly can. So close quickly, do what you say you're going to do. And then once you close and the money's in their account, say, hey, by the way, we try to buy 2 of these a year. So they're, people are always thinking about, oh yeah, I kind of got another one I'm going to sell, but I don't want to do it till next year. And, so keep that conversation going. And you better bet they're usually going to call you first to sell that building if you successfully and painlessly bought one of their properties in the past, and you're keeping in touch with them as well. So value add strategy. All right, let's break into value add strategy. And by the way, I see more people are jumping on as we go here. If you have questions, please put them in the Q&A or the chat. And of course, I'll answer all those questions at the end. So I encourage questions. They're always good to see. Value add strategy. Okay, so PCG, People's Capital Group here, we create value in our properties. We force equity into them by improving the physical condition of units as they become vacant. So as tenants move out, we renovate those units, we upgrade them, we give them the amenities we know tenants are looking for, and then we lease them out to better quality tenants at whatever the market will bear, the highest possible price the market will bear, to attract a quality tenant. The goal is generally to bring the property up to full market rent over the course of about 2 to 3 years. Okay, so I'm explaining the types of deals we do so you can understand how we create a deal, right? Because again, a deal to me might be not a deal to you, or a deal to one investor might not be a deal to me. So what we buy is very important to creating a deal, so we know how to recognize that opportunity when we see it. Our goal is also to improve each property and refinance within 3 to 5 years and harvest that equity growth, get about half of our investors' initial investment back at the 3 to 5 year mark through a cash out refinance. Now, if the investor opts to leave their initial principal in the investment and keep earning quarterly cash flow and keep earning a big lump sum upon the refinance every 3 to 5 years, then those big lump sum payouts from refinance are completely tax-free. What's amazing about that is that the majority of the returns investors recognize and realize from these investments, about 90% of the returns come from the refinance. So by structuring our investments so that the majority of the returns come from the refinance, that means the majority of the returns our investors realize are non-taxable liquidity event. Now, the cash flow they receive on a quarterly basis is taxable, but that's generally written off with tax depreciation. And cash flow on New Jersey apartment buildings is a bit lighter, generally around 2, maybe 3% a year at most. So that's written off with tax depreciation. Now, of course, at the cash out refinance, investors would expect about half their initial investment back. That doesn't dilute their ownership in the property. They still have their full ownership in the property. It allows them to get a big lump sum payout completely tax-free. Now, they have the option to exit at the refinance. They can get back their initial investment, keep the funds earned from cash flow, keep the funds earned from the refinance, and pay capital gains tax on those earnings because they've exited the investment. So a better tax strategy is to keep your principal invested, not pay capital gains tax on the big lump sum from the refinance, keep enjoying quarterly cash flow as well. That's written off with tax depreciation, and keep enjoying big lump sums upon the refinance every 3 to 5 years, completely tax-free, right? But the investors have the exit option there, the exit flexibility, and that's important to have when you're structuring an investment as well. So that's our strategy to increase the value of the property by renovating the units, leasing them up for top dollar. That takes about 3 years. Then we go to refinance the property as that refinance value is recognized, that property value is increased. And that'll be about 3 to 5 years in. We'll go to do our first refinance, and then every 3 to 5 years thereafter is our goal. And the cash out refinance is a great tax strategy. As I just explained, it's a way for us to put cash in our investors' pocket. And if they remain invested with their initial principal, it's completely tax-free. And that's a great way to pay yourself without paying the tax man. And that's what it's all about. Structuring investments that create no additional tax burden, but also create strong double-digit returns, right? We target about a 10 to 12% annualized cash-on-cash return to our investors between the cash flow and the refinance capital. So a nice, strong double-digit return. It's not correlated with the stock market, completely individually managed, and not correlated with any macroeconomic stock market forces. So really a nice recession resilient investment that creates a non-taxable liquidity event every 3 to 5 years. But to create that value, to allow yourself to do a cash out refinance, you have to do improvements to the property. You can see here on the right is our basic rundown of the improvements we're doing to a $4 million building we're buying in Bayonne, New Jersey right now. You know, from roof repair to landscapings to general cleanup and putting laundry in the basement there. 10,000 per some units, 5,000 per others. Actually, this, I'm sorry, is a building in Rahway, New Jersey, a 27 unit in Rahway, New Jersey. This is the repair estimate for that. I'm getting my buildings mixed up. That tends to happen sometimes if you're buying too many pieces of real estate. So, but I know my repair estimate when I see one. That's actually for a 27 unit in Rahway, New Jersey. That is going very nicely and is ahead of schedule. Really a nice project ahead of target there. So going very well, and units are getting rented out about 15% ahead of above initial targets. So really a good investment there for our private investor group. So let's make into a little bit more of what it looks like when people are participating with People's Capital Group investments, a little bit of our historical performance here. So we have over 65 investors that participate in our fund. Seth and I have completed over 300 real estate transactions together. We offer a 3 to 5 year investment option in our investments, although we have a new product we just put out that I'll talk about at the end of this. Pretty interesting, a short-term investment option that pays an interest rate. It's pretty much the opposite of a syndication investment. It's a much shorter investment and it pays an interest rate, which is the opposite of an equity investment. That tends to be a 3 to 5 year investment and it is based on equity performance. So historically, our performance has been between 10 to 24% annualized cash on cash returns. Again, historically, we've achieved 10 to 24% annualized cash on cash returns. So it's important to recognize, you know, the historical performance of a company. Of course, historical performance does not guarantee future performance. Okay, the SEC requires me to say that. Of course, this is not a solicitation for funds, tax advice, or legal advice. We did just release a new offering in Bayonne, New Jersey that is fully funded right now. But again, if you want to learn more about that opportunity, reach out to us, set up a call here. We could talk to you more about different ways to invest in existing assets as they're being renovated. But this is the next building we're buying here. We're closing in about 2 weeks. see it's a beautiful building, a nice interior here. It's family owned for 40 years. Really not a whole lot of renovation to do, just mismanaged. Rents are 35% below market value, but there's 5 vacant units from day one. We can start our renovations quickly. We have a great location here, 3 blocks to the water, 10-minute walk to a light rail station. So again, this is fully funded, but if you want to learn more about it and possibly get on the waiting list for this investment, contact us. You can set up a call, put a link in the chat at the end of the presentation here. So responsibilities, People's Capital Group and responsibilities of investment partners. So here's what that looks like when people are participating with People's Capital Group. So our job here at PCG is to locate, negotiate, and perform due diligence on a real estate opportunity. Again, we'll look at 400 bad opportunities to find one good one. Then we go through multiple levels of due diligence, financial, physical, title, so on, legal. We work to obtain and guarantee the mortgage. So we, on this new acquisition, for example, we got a nice mortgage from New Haven Savings Bank at about a 6% interest rate. So that's a nice opportunity for us, a decent interest rate here. We'll restructure that down the road and rates come down a little bit, and we finish our renovations as well and our repositioning. And of course, we manage the asset in its entirety. So we have about a 15-year projection for our investments. And of course, investors have options along the way to exit any of the refinances every 3 to 5 years. But a better tax strategy is to remain invested long term. And that's our goal, is to kind of build legacy wealth for our investors, right? When we looked at the market, we said there's 2 major flaws in the syndication space. First of all, most real estate syndications raise capital around New York, New Jersey, or on the coastal areas, and then invest multiple states away, maybe on the other side of the country. They hire a third-party property management company, and they hope that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. Here's the flaw with that model. I actually fired 3 management companies before we developed our own in-house property management company. The reason we developed our own management company in 2015 is because we recognize the most important thing in this business is property management. You can make money in real estate doing fix and flips or hotels or self-storage or apartment buildings or Texas or Miami or New Jersey. It doesn't really matter. You can do well in many markets with many different types of real estate. But at the end of the day, it's all about the operators. Do they have their infrastructure in place? Do they have a track record that speaks for itself? Have they done transactions in that market and have the boots on the ground to make sure the project goes well? Now, many syndicators do have this all in place. It doesn't mean you're a bad syndicator if you're buying out of state. 95% of syndications buy out of state, right? Many of them are very, very good at what they do. However, in my opinion, if I'm going to take other people's money and put it to work in real estate, my reputation's on the line, and I treat that money safer than I'd even treat my own money. And I always make sure to have close control of the asset. And that means having our own management company manage the assets. See, it's a lot different when you're working with someone who's your employee as far as someone who's a service provider, right? You can make suggestion to a service provider and you can say, hey, I'd like you to change this, or get the rent higher, or lease these units faster, or manage these contractors. They're not doing a good job. They're not finishing quickly enough. The quality of work is subpar. Or the numbers aren't coming in right. Your bottom line's not there. And they'll try to make changes. They'll give you some lip service, like many service providers do. But at the end of the day, you can't really control what they do. You could fire them, hire a new management company, but that's a headache. And your tenants lose trust. And there's some lease loss in that process as well. So what I found was, after firing 3 management companies, and one was actually taking money from us, I said, wow, we can't work with other people's capital and be at the mercy of a third-party property management company. It's a huge flaw in the syndication space. So let's develop a real estate syndication that has its own in-house property management company. It's exactly what we did in 2015, and it's allowed us to have much better control of the assets, get much better performance for our investors, and that's the bottom line. That's why we do it. It's not an income for us. We actually break even because we charge a discounted property management fee. We charge about 2/3 what your normal property management company would charge. So not only does it allow us to control the asset much more closely and get our projects done faster and for a better price, but it also allows us to save money on the cost of property management, which is a service we'd have to pay for regardless. So we manage the asset in its entirety. We perform a value add strategy through its entirety of the investment and realize the targeted ROI. We talked about how we force value into the property through the cash out refinance and the renovations and the releasing and so on. And then we refinance the property every 3 to 5 years to achieve that targeted cash out refinance. And it tried to get about half of our investors' capital back, their initial investment back from each refinance there. And of course, when we do the refinance, it does not dilute the investor's ownership, but they do have the exit options there as well. Now, the responsibilities of the investment partners, they must qualify to invest. You must be accredited or sophisticated. Accredited means you have a net worth of $1 million, not including your primary residence, or an income of $250,000 or $300,000 with your spouse. Sophisticated means you have some experience investing in real estate or reviewing real estate investment opportunities. You don't need to live on the returns of the investment. You have ample savings and income as well. So that's a sophisticated investor. So we can work with accredited investors, millionaires. We can also work with sophisticated investors, people getting started investing in real estate who have the experience and the funds to complete the minimum $30,000 investment, but we work with both accredited multimillionaires that have 7 figures with us and sophisticated investors, school teachers, firefighters, police officers that have some capital to put to work. Maybe they're self-directing their IRA into real estate, and that allows us to work with more investors. You know, here at People's Capital Group, we don't work with hedge funds or family offices. We work with people. We help people invest in real estate. So if we only accepted millionaires, accredited investors, we couldn't help that many people. Now that since we accept non-accredited, sophisticated investors, we can help a lot more people, realtors, our contractors, our plumber, right? So all different types of people. You don't have to be a millionaire to invest with People's Capital Group. Although we like working with our millionaire investors as well. And we do have some larger investors with 7 figures with us. After qualification, you must be selected to invest and respond with the executed documents within the time frame allocated. There's generally about a 30-day window for our investors to review an investment opportunity, make a decision to invest, fill out the documents online, which are pretty straightforward, and then complete the wire. So there isn't a lot of time our investors have to take action. If you don't take action in that time, we work with investors on a first come, first serve basis. And boy, if I had a nickel for every realtor who's like, well, I know you said February 1st is that I waited till the last day to do it, and now all the spots filled up, but you can make room for me. No, unfortunately, it's a first come, first serve opportunity. So we need investors to move quickly, and a lot of investors missed out on the Bayonne opportunity because they didn't move quickly enough. So it's important when you do see an opportunity with us and you are qualified to invest to take action quickly on that opportunity. And we make it pretty easy to start investing with us. Once you're qualified, it's all done really right online through the investor dashboard we have for our qualified investors. Then, of course, the next step for our investors is to procure the approved funds, the title company prior to closing, and the investor does not personally guarantee the mortgage or take any responsibility in the management of the property. Here's some more ways PCG investors benefit. Of course, more quality time. You don't have to look at hundreds of bad deals to find a good one or manage it long term. You could spend that time with your family, friends, your career, building your career, making more income, doing the things you're best at that you get paid the big bucks to do. Let us focus on what we do best here. No experience in real estate is necessary. Again, as a sophisticated investor, you have to have some experience reviewing opportunities and understand the risks of the investment, but you don't necessarily have to have a ton of experience, flipping houses or buying apartment buildings or things like that. That's our job, to have that experience, know how to structure the investment, know how to get the project done according to our budget and our schedule. Diversification of investment portfolio, right? This is not a stock backed by real estate. This is not something that is correlated to the stock market. This is an individual investment in individual property. Our investors enjoy monthly updates explaining exactly what's going on with their property, the good, the bad, the ugly, how we're solving problems. So when you're invested with an opportunity at People's Capital Group, you learn a lot about real estate investing as well through our monthly updates. Quarterly financials allow investors to know exactly what's going on with their investment there in financial depth. And then, of course, a quarterly cash flow check alongside and a K-1 tax form at the end of the year, just as any real estate owner would get, because in our case, you own real estate. expertise and guidance. When people invest with us, we have a lot of active investors that own real estate already, and they're kind of trying to take a back seat, maybe work a little bit less and invest passively. So they learn a lot from our monthly updates. So even if you're not in real estate, people really learn a lot from our monthly updates here. And of course, ownership in high demand real estate. So we focus on North Jersey markets, high demand markets. The building we're buying in Bayonne, New Jersey right now, great location right near the water, 10-minute walk to light rail station. A ferry's going into Bayonne. So lots of things happening there. Very high demand location. Best practices of contracting and sales, from leasing to managing contractors to signing up our investors and the whole qualification process. We try to make it very painless and easy. Of course, professionals do the work for you. So from A to Z, our investors have an investor dashboard. They can log into at any time, get access to their monthly updates and quarterly financials and tax documents. It makes it much easier for our investors come tax time. And it's a nice investment dashboard, kind of like if you're investing in Vanguard or something like that. And of course, we're IRA friendly. So we work with self-directed IRAs and solo 401ks. About a third of our investors use a self-directed IRA or solo 401k to invest with us. And that's a great way to start building your nest egg and diversify a little bit of it out of the stock market into real estate. And if you haven't self-directed your IRA, check out my webinar about how to self-direct your IRA on our YouTube channel there, or our website, peoplescapitalgroup.com, or you can contact me here as well. We'll send you a copy of how to self-direct your IRA into real estate. If you want a copy of that webinar, put your email in the chat and we will email you a copy of how to self-direct your IRA into real estate. It's about a 45-minute webinar. Okay, so meet the founders here. That's me, Aaron Fragnito at the top. I focus on investor relations, investor updates. Again, I try to make those very in-depth, so you're learning a lot with our investments here. Seth Martinez on the right there, he's in charge of operations. So he's focused on managing the management company, the contractors, completing due diligence on new opportunities coming in, and overall company management as well, and internal operations here at PCG. I'm more focused on marketing, branding, and more client-facing with our weekly webinars, our monthly networking events, and our weekly podcasts as well. So together and I, Seth, have completed over 300 real estate transactions. We've done fix and flips. We've done wholesales. We've done 9 syndications. So a good breadth of experience all here in New Jersey over the last 12 years or so we've been investing here. And so lots of experience between Seth and I investing in lots of different types of real estate too. So here's the process to proceed. If you want to learn more about how to get qualified and the different opportunities we have coming available in the near future, here's the process to proceed and get qualified. First, we want to set up a discovery call. You can do that at peoplescapitalgroup.com. I'll also put a link in the chat here when we're done speaking, and that'll be a great way to schedule that call with either me or a member of our team, and we'll talk about your investment goals, get to know each other a little bit better, and then normally structure a second call later in the week or another week that will talk about an investment opportunity if you're qualified. So you got to complete that discovery call. It's important you pick up the call. You're there. It's a quiet area. You're able to talk with a member of our team and really focus on the call. It's an important call because we need to know about your investment goals. We're also going to qualify you over the phone to make sure you're either a sophisticated or accredited investor. Make sure you would qualify to invest with us. So it's important to do that call. Make sure you're in a quiet place for it. If you can't do the call when you scheduled, you want to reschedule before the call happens. If you don't show for 2 calls, you are disqualified. Step 3, review the information for the latest private offering. Once you're qualified, we'll give you access to that offering. You can review it on our investor dashboard. It's all done right online. Very professional presentation. There's generally a webinar explaining the investment, a summary, 140 pages of legal documents, so you can dig into it as much as you'd like. And that's all done right on our investor dashboard, right online. And of course, the signing of the eDocs is done right online there as well on our investor dashboard. So once you're qualified, it's pretty easy to take action in one of our opportunities. You do have to move quickly once the opportunity comes out, because as we have more investors than we do spots on our investments. Of course, step 5 after the documents are executed is to wire the approved funds to escrow. At this point, your ownership interest in the offering LLC will be complete. And of course, we close on the property then and start sending you quarterly cash flow checks as the property starts producing quarterly cash flow in time. And our investors' responsibility is to deposit those quarterly cash flow checks, enjoy your monthly updates, which are emailed to you, and quarterly financials, which are also emailed to you. And of course, you can access all this on your investor dashboard 24/7. We do like to send out quarterly checks to our investors because we like having a check in. I like getting a check in my hand. I like, our investors like it too. So we focus on the quarterly checks there. Couple things coming up. I see we have some questions as well, and even some more people are jumping on. So good to see here. By the way, if you want a recording of the presentation, just let us know. We can send that out as well. You can put your email in the chat or the Q&A. We can send you a recording of the presentation. Also, if you want that webinar for the how to self-direct your IRA, put your email in the chat there as well, or the Q&A, we'll send that to you. But exciting event coming up February 21st of next, well, actually, it's already February. Look at that. So this month, we have an event coming up, 6:30 p.m. at the Jersey Cyclone Brewery in Somerville, New Jersey. We had this event last month in January. We had over 70 people attend. It was packed. We still have free tickets until the 7th of February. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to put a link. This is a great place to meet investors, learn about People's Capital Group. I do about a 20-minute presentation. I'll talk about the art of the deal in this presentation. I'm going to break into how we negotiate with sellers and landlords, how to use kind of silence to your advantage, which is something I'm personally working on. I've never been good at that. And just tricks of the trade I've learned and things I've studied as well about how to negotiate and create a good deal, the art of the deal there. So it's a brief presentation. I'll speak for about 20 minutes. The majority of the night is focused on networking. We have a couple sponsors as well there. So it's a great way to build your business, meet like-minded professionals. And there's people in the industry there and out of the industry, so doctors, lawyers, passive investors, school teachers, firefighters, and then we have realtors, lenders, title companies, insurance companies, life insurance, the whole thing. So people in the industry, around the industry, and completely out of the industry as well. A $10 event. It's not just like an event packed with realtors or something, or lender like you see a lot in the real estate space. So we really take pride in our diversity of attendees there, and I hope you can check it out. It's definitely worth the time to come check it out. That is going to be February 21st at 6:30 p.m. in Somerville, New Jersey. So if you're local, check that out. I'm going to put the link in the chat here as we wrap up. And we also have a new product that we're putting out to investors. Now, this is pretty interesting. We sent out an email Tuesday at about 12:30. And to our about 4,000 email contacts. And this exact flyer here, PCG is now accepting 5 investors to participate in short-term notes, 8% interest, 6-month promissory note, 8% annual interest, personally guaranteed by Seth and I. Funds are used to fix and flip houses, go to sheriff sale auctions, but it's a debt payment, so it doesn't matter really, if the funds make a huge profit or are lost on a fix and flip, the interest is earned by the investor regardless, right? That's the nice part about a debt investment, of course, right? So personally guaranteed by Seth and I as well. We have over $20 million of assets, over 150 units throughout New Jersey, so we'll personally guarantee this promissory note, and it pays a solid 8% annual interest rate. So a nice opportunity here for people looking to kind of dip their toe in the water, do a short-term 6-month investment. It's something we haven't offered in about 6 years. Okay, we used to offer short-term promissory notes. We didn't offer them for many years. We just started doing it again because, quite frankly, we're seeing residential deals come out of the woodwork, and we want to be able to strike on them quickly. And also, we're hearing from investors that they're looking for a shorter-term investment right now. They like People's Capital Group. They like what we do, but hey, people are worried about the market. They don't really know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. Of course, none of us do. We never did. But also the market sentiment is a little sheepish right now. We're all a little nervous. So most people are looking for a shorter term investment, and also an investment where you know exactly what you're earning on your capital, right? It doesn't mean the market goes south, you don't get your 8%. It's not like that, right? So for the most part, this is what investors are seeking right now. And the amount of feedback we got from our investors is incredible. So right now our calendar is booking up with calls. We only have room for 5 investors. At this point, we really only have room for about one more investor right now. We'll be maxed out here. We'll be capping out this investment. So If you're looking for a shorter term investment, and again, we rarely offer this. We're probably not going to offer this again for some time. This is a great opportunity to kind of dip your toe in the water with People's Capital Group, earn a solid 8% annual interest rate on your investment. And at the end of the 6 months, you can take back your principal and your interest and go your merry way. Or we could discuss rolling it into an equity option at that time, an apartment building we're buying at that time. Or we could even discuss renewing the note if all parties want to do that as well. So lots of different options there, but the bottom line is it's a shorter term investment and it has a solid high interest rate here that investors can enjoy. So this is a great way to kind of start working together on a easier way here. Our minimum investment for this is $100,000, but hey, if you don't have that amount of capital or you were looking to put less to work, let's get in touch regardless and see if we can make an exception. But of course, this is what we're offering right now to our investor group. We are looking to team up with only new investors for this. So I want to work with only new investors for this. If you are an existing investor and you want to learn more about this, let's connect as well. I always like to please our existing investors first, but I also really want to connect with new investors this year and meet 100 new investors and help them invest in real estate. That's my goal this year here at People's Capital Group. And I hope you're one of those people. So I really enjoy helping people invest in real estate. My business partner, Seth, and I have been doing this over 10 years here in New Jersey, and we have a nice niche of an in-house property management company, and we focus on investing only in North Jersey apartment buildings. So if you enjoyed this presentation tonight, definitely check out our event coming up on the 21st. That's a great way to learn more about People's Capital Group, meet like-minded investors. But if you want to fast track our relationship, get to know us a little better, and start that qualification process, then I suggest we would set up a discovery call. So what I'm going to do here is share a link with our listeners here, with our followers. And all right, so I'll send this link to everyone here. This is a link where you can schedule a call with a member of our team. We, again, have limited spots on what we're doing right now, but we are in the process of qualifying new investors now. So it's a bit of a process. We want to make sure you are qualified to invest. So even if you have questions about what we do and you're not sure, let's schedule a call to get to know each other a little bit more and see if what we do here is a fit at People's Capital Group. So that's a great way to kind of connect with us. I'm also going to share a link here for the event coming up. Okay, so we have an event coming up again in Somerset, New Jersey. And we are going to be doing this event here on the 21st. I'm just going to put the link here for our listeners in the chat, and I'll go ahead and answer any questions we have. Again, this event's usually packed. Free tickets are only available until the 7th. All right. So we do have, of course, the 7th coming up here. I'm going to actually stop our live stream there. So yeah, free tickets available until the 7th, and then we'll be wrapping up those. It's $10 after that, and it is $20 at the door. So to save yourself $10 or $20, I'm going to put this link in the chat so we can all connect there at the event in person. If you're not local to New Jersey, or you can't make the event, or you just want to get to know us a little bit more and get your questions answered, best thing to do is click that link and schedule a call. Okay, I'm going to give you the the sign up link now for the event, and then we'll answer our questions here. Okay, there's the link to the event coming up, okay, on the 21st. Again, tickets are free until the 7th, so be sure to click that link, get your free ticket to our event on the 21st at the Jersey Cyclone Brewery. The link above that is a link to schedule a call with a member of our team. That's important as well. If you want to get qualified, you want to get access to what we have coming up and get the jump on new opportunities, schedule that call today. Let's build our wealth together. Let's make it happen. Looking at the Q&A here, so it looks like we don't have many questions here. I had a lot of people jump on tonight, which is exciting. And so thank you for joining us so much here. I'm actually going to leave this presentation going for a few more minutes so you can click on those links. It looks like we already had people schedule some calls here, so very exciting. My calendar does fill up quickly, so click that link. Let's schedule a call. Let's connect on the phone, get you qualified, and start building our wealth together in real estate. Have a good night.